Details on OpenAI's deal to build one of the world's largest AI data centers in Abu Dhabi. Sources telling CNBC's Kate Rooney that Elon Musk worked to try to stop that deal if it didn't include his own AI startup, XAI.
What do you think about, like, when Elon was calling for a pause on AI?
I mean, he was like starting an AGI company while he was doing that.
Yeah. So didn't he start it like after he was calling for the pause?
I think before, but I don't remember. In any case,
is it one of those you can't beat him, join him things?
I think the instinct of saying, like, we've really got to figure out how to make this safe and good and, like, widely good is really important. But I think calling for a pause is, like, naive at best.
So I was sitting at the dinner with Macron. So it was Macron, it was JD Vance, and it was Sam Altman. Frankly, I think Elon was a little jealous that Sam Altman was sitting next to JD Vance, and it wasn't him. And because it was right around the time that Sam Altman was speaking that he announced it. And frankly, I thought Sam's tweet response, part of it was pretty good. I would have probably said, instead of whatever he said about 9 billion, I would have said, yeah, I'm going to take Twitter public at $420 a share. It was attention grabbing, right? Some people can't stand to not be getting attention.
The battle for the future of artificial intelligence is a clash of ideologies, a fight for the very soul of what AI should be. And at the heart of this explosive drama, two billionaires, each with a vision for AI that couldn't be more different. On one side, you have Elon Musk, the relentless innovator and tech disruptor, the man who's been reshaping industries for decades. On the other, you have Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who's become the gatekeeper of one of the most powerful technologies humanity has ever known. This is a story of vision, trust, and control, and at stake is nothing less than who will own the future of AI. Musk is making moves that could flip everything we thought we knew about AI, and his latest play? A $97 billion bid to take over OpenAI, the very company he helped create. But here's the kicker. Altman made it clear, OpenAI is not for sale. So why the offer? What's behind Musk's sudden push to seize control? Is this just a billionaire power play, an attempt to slow down a competitor? Or does Musk truly believe that OpenAI has strayed from its original mission? Musk's frustration is palpable. He believes OpenAI has veered off course, morphing from its non-profit roots into a profit-driven juggernaut. In Musk's eyes, this is about preserving the mission to ensure AI doesn't become a weapon of the few. And if Musk has his way, he'll tear down the walls of secrecy and profit-driven agendas to create an AI that's open, safe, and accessible to everyone. But let's not kid ourselves. This is about trust. Sam Altman may have once stood shoulder to shoulder with Musk as they co-founded OpenAI, but the cracks have been widening for years. Musk's vision of an open, transparent AI world doesn't align with Altman's increasingly corporate-driven OpenAI, which is more focused on scaling rapidly, securing funding, and positioning itself for long-term dominance. This shift from non-profit to a hybrid for-profit model hasn't just raised eyebrows, it's turned the company's very identity on its head. Musk wants to put the brakes on that, but Altman? He's accelerating forward, convinced that the company needs the freedom to grow and evolve, even if it means embracing profit. And let's not forget the stakes here. What happens if Musk pulls this off? If he successfully takes control of OpenAI, dismantles its current structure, and builds a rival, we might be looking at a complete upheaval in the AI world. AI development could become more transparent, safer, and more accessible. But that's a big if. Musk has never been shy about taking risks, but is he really prepared to handle the immense power that comes with controlling such a force? And if he doesn't succeed, if Altman holds onto the reins and steers OpenAI down its current path, what does that mean for the future? Does it mean we're handing the keys to the most powerful technology in human history to a single company, and by extension, one individual's vision of how AI should be developed? Sam Altman insists that OpenAI's mission hasn't changed, but the reality is, things are different. OpenAI may have started as a non-profit, a dream to create AI for the good of humanity. But now, It's a multi-billion-dollar empire where the lines between mission-driven idealism and capitalistic ambition are becoming harder and harder to distinguish. Altman may have started OpenAI with a noble goal, but as he steers it into the realm of profit, the question arises: can we trust him with the future of AI? Is he still the right person to protect us from the very risks he once warned about? So buckle up, because this battle is far from over. Whether it's Musk's vision of an open, regulated AI world, or Altman's quest to lead OpenAI into the future, the stakes have never been higher. And whichever side you're on, there's no denying that this is one race we can't afford to lose.
OpenAI, I mean, you seem somewhat frustrated with them. You were one of the big contributors early on.
The reason I am the reason OpenAI exists.
How much money did you give them?
I'm not sure the exact number, but it's some number on the order of $50 million. Man, fate loves irony next level.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually. I don't think he's like a happy person. I do feel for him.
Elon Musk is part of an investor group trying to buy OpenAI, the parent company of the popular chat GPT service. Musk is leading a group of investors who have made a bid to buy OpenAI for nearly $100 billion. But Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, says there's just one problem.
OpenAI is not for sale. The OpenAI mission is not for sale. Elon tries all sorts of things for a long time. This is this week's episode.
You take it seriously at all? What do you think he's trying to drive at with this?
I think he's probably just trying to slow us down. He obviously is a competitor.
The backstory here is key, right? Musk actually co-founded OpenAI back in 2015, but he has feuded with Sam Altman ever since then over OpenAI's plans to convert from a nonprofit to a for-profit company.
Something is boiling beneath the surface of Silicon Valley. Elon Musk is suing the very company he co-founded. Sam Altman, the man currently running that company, is in the spotlight, answering questions, dodging accusations, and subtly firing back. But this isn't just another tech feud. This is a power struggle over who controls the future of artificial intelligence. Because if Elon Musk gets his way, if he dismantles OpenAI, builds a rival, or reclaims the narrative, it might just flip the script on everything we thought we knew about AI, safety, and control. But if he doesn't, if Altman keeps the wheel and pushes forward without brakes or oversight, then yes, we might really be screwed. This is about how power shifts when the most advanced intelligence ever created lands in human hands, and whether we've put it in the right ones.
One of the other questions, and it is Elon related, is you are now moving towards having a for-profit component part of your business. Right now it's a not-for-profit. And he, as everybody knows, if you read the papers, is suing you over this and many other things. How do you feel? I actually just want to ask you on a very personal level, forgetting about even the merits of the case. As a guy who has spent a lot of time with him and you guys founded this thing together, how do you feel personally today about all this? Just as a human.
Tremendously sad. I grew up with Elon as like a mega hero. I thought what Elon was doing was absolutely incredible for the world. And I'm still, of course, I have different feelings about him now, but I'm still glad he exists. And not just because, no, I mean that genuinely, not just because I think his companies are awesome, which I do think, but because I think he, at a time when most of the world was not thinking very ambitiously, he pushed a lot of people, me included, to think much more ambitiously. And I'm grateful is the wrong kind of word, but I'm thankful, I'm positive about that. We started OpenAI together, and then at some point he totally lost faith in OpenAI and decided to go his own way, and that's fine too, but I think of Elon as a builder and someone who, known thing about Elon, he really cares about being the guy. But I think of him as someone that if he is not, that just competes in the market and in technology and whatever else, and doesn't resort to lawfare. And, whatever the stated complaint is, what I believe is he's just he's a competitor and we're doing well. And that's sad to see.
How concerned is Sam Altman about annihilation, do you think?
I think in reality he's not concerned about it. I don't trust OpenAI. I mean, I started that company as a non-profit open source.
Yes.
The open in OpenAI, I named the company.
Yeah.
OpenAI as an open source, and it is now extremely closed source and maximizing profit. I don't understand how you actually go from being an open source nonprofit to a closed source for maximum profit organization.
Let me ask you a different question just about the company. You did start it as a not-for-profit. It was a research outfit originally.
Yeah.
Now, I think there's a view that it has to shift to be some kind of profit-oriented company.
Well,
does it have to?
First of all, I'd like to talk about the reason we started as a nonprofit, because I think it sort of speaks to the answer too. When we started, we did not have any idea that we were going to be a product company. We also did not know that the amount of capital we needed would turn out to be so huge. If we did know those things, we would have picked a different structure. It's hard to overstate, because it wasn't that long ago on the calendar, but it's hard to overstate how different 2016 was. This was years before we had the research that led to language models. This was 4.5 years before we launched our first product. This was like 6.5 years before we launched ChatGPT. All we knew that we wanted to do was do some AI research, and that we thought AGI and superintelligence eventually would be this important thing to the world. And we wanted to somehow do something that would be good. At the time, we were working on writing papers, new RL algorithms, new theories, a way to play video games, a robotic hand, and it was not clear that there would ever be a product or revenue stream at all. And it wasn't clear that we were going to need one, because it wasn't clear we needed so much money.
Right.
It became clear after GPT-1 and some other work that we were going to need to scale. And we started, and also Elon decided to stop funding us as a nonprofit, and we couldn't get somebody else to do it, that we needed to find a way to make a capped profit. Now, we wanted to keep going with a lot of the things that we think are good about a nonprofit, and so we had this subsidiary capped profit that worked for a while.
We start with a question that cuts straight to the core. How do you feel about Elon Musk suing you? Sam Altman doesn't flinch. But what he gives us isn't a corporate answer. It's something more personal, more conflicted. He talks about idolizing Elon, seeing him as a hero. Not a mentor, not a colleague, a hero. That's worship-level admiration. And when someone you revere becomes your legal opponent, that's grief. But let's step back. Why does this matter? Because it exposes the emotional rot under the surface of OpenAI. A company born from big, idealistic dreams, co-founded by people who believed they could steer the most powerful technology on Earth, fractured into lawsuits and counterclaims. When Sam says Elon lost faith in OpenAI, he makes it sound like a bad breakup. But really, it's the story of two visions diverging. Elon wanted AI to be open source, safe, shared. Sam saw a different path, one that required capital, scaling, and eventually, control. And that control is exactly what Elon is afraid of. Elon's fear isn't new. He's warned for years about AI becoming humanity's last invention, especially if it's wielded by the wrong people. So when he sees Sam leading a company that's both secretive and profitable, he sounds the alarm. I don't trust OpenAI. This is the kind of institutional breakdown that could define the next decade. The very people who were supposed to protect us from runaway AI can't even trust each other. And while they trade jabs in interviews and court filings, the technology keeps evolving, faster, smarter, scarier. So what happens if Elon decides to launch his own AI, built from scratch and engineered to outcompete OpenAI? Well, if he's right, if Sam really can't be trusted, then that move might be the only thing that keeps us from handing the keys to the kingdom over to a single private empire. But if Elon's wrong, then we're in a global arms race of egos, not ethics. And in that kind of race, no one wins.
Meantime, this new chapter in the battle of the tech billionaires, Sam Altman rejecting that $97.4 billion bid by an Elon Musk-led group looking to take control of OpenAI. CNBC's Arjun Karpal caught up with Altman at this AI conference this morning in Paris, which is the locus of pretty much all global attention today. Hey, Arjun.
Hey, good morning, Carl. And look, one of the things and the rationales behind the deal from Elon Musk, which is very important, is he thinks OpenAI has strayed from its goal to create AI that benefits humanity, and that's why he says he's put in his bid. But what does Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, thinks? This was amongst the questions I put to him. Why do you think Musk is putting a bid in now? Let's listen into what he had to say. Musk bid for OpenAI?
Yeah.
How seriously are you taking it?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. Why do you think he's doing this?
To slow down a competitor.
And Stargate? Do you have the funding?
I'm not the one who tweeted funding secured. I just actually try to show up and, build the thing.
Just a quick one.
What's the end game, Mr. Rome? What is the end game of Elon Musk?
I don't know. I'm curious. Yeah. I think it's to slow down a competitor and try to catch up with his thing, but I don't really know.
Yeah, but you know well, right?
To the degree anybody does, yeah.
Just when you think the rift couldn't get any deeper, Sam throws down a new card, publicly. In a short clip, he's asked how seriously he takes Elon's bid for OpenAI. His response? Not particularly. That sounds casual, but make no mistake, it's strategic. He's not just downplaying Elon, he's exposing him. Altman claims Elon is trying to slow down a competitor, not protect the world, not champion ethics, but stall the progress of a rival he can't keep up with. And then comes the snark. I'm not the one who tweeted funding secured. That's a shot across the bow. A dig at Elon's infamous SEC battle. What this shows is critical. The gloves are off. This is about undermining each other publicly, damaging reputations, and taking the AI race into the mud. And Sam's final word? I don't really know what Elon's endgame is. That's casting doubt. It's Sam planting the idea that maybe Elon doesn't even have a master plan. Just a grudge and a need to stay relevant in a space he helped ignite, but no longer controls. This isn't a chess match, it's a street fight. And at this point, neither side is pretending otherwise.
And in some senses still does kind of work, and in some other senses is like straining the theory of what a nonprofit controlled org can be and the amount of capital we need at this next stage. So we are, and have been for a while, looking at some changes. Nothing is decided. It is, as you can imagine, like very complicated to figure this out. And the board is like hard at work on it. In any configuration, like the nonprofit doesn't go away. Like one thing that the board has looked at, for example, is a PBC that a nonprofit owns a huge chunk of and then figures out how to use that amount of wealth for the purpose of the nonprofit. There's other ideas too.
One of the things I've always been fascinated by is you never took equity in the company.
I think you think about that more than I do.
I'm surprised. You get paid $76,000, I looked.
I believe you.
And that's it. If the company does have one of these moments, there's an expectation you will get some equity.
There was much of press about that, and there's been like some investor pressure. It is weird that I didn't get equity.
Did you want it? You didn't want it?
No, I didn't want it. If I could go back in time, I would have taken it, just some little bit, just to never have to answer this question. And no matter how many times I try to explain to people, like, I have the most interesting, coolest job in the world. This is like my retirement dream way to spend my time after like what was a pretty good career. And people can work on like art projects and not get paid for that, and no one thinks it's weird or whatever. It just does not come across. So I wish I had taken some. I don't imagine I would work any harder or less hard. There would be like, I think, something clearer about the alignment I would have had with investors or whatever else, and it definitely would have been easier to raise money. Like there are plenty of investors who have not invested because I didn't take equity.
They say, really, that's interesting. They will not invest because you don't have equity.
Come up a few times, yeah.
So if it's now the company's $157 billion, what do you think is a good number for yourself if it happens?
Again, I think you think about it more. This is my childhood dream job. Like, not every day, like not day to day. I would rather not be beating my head against the wall all the time. But getting to work on AGI and like getting to like sit in the room with the smartest researchers in the world and go on this crazy adventure, like that is what I always wanted to do. That was like my literal childhood dream. And that is, all of the weirdness aside, I think it should at least be understandable that is worth more to me than any additional money.
Well, but Sam Altman got rich, though, didn't he?
At various points, he's claimed not to be getting rich, but he's claimed many things that were false. And now apparently he's going to get $10 billion of stock or something like that. So I don't trust Sam Altman, and I don't think we want to have the most powerful AI in the world controlled by someone who is not trustworthy. And sorry, I just don't. I mean,
but that seems like a fair concern.
Yeah.
But you don't think, as someone who knows him and has dealt with him, that he is worried about the possibility this could get out of control and hurt people?
He will say those words, yeah, but no.
The next few minutes of the interview drop harder than most people realize. Sam opens up about OpenAI's nonprofit roots, and it's clear they weren't built for scale. In 2016, they weren't chasing a product. They were publishing research, tinkering with algorithms, teaching robotic hands to solve Rubik's Cubes. It was science for science's sake. But then came GPT. Then came scaling. Then came the money. Sam admits, if we knew how much capital we'd need, we would have chosen a different structure. That line hits like a time bomb, because it reframes OpenAI not as a mission-led organization adapting to growth, but as a non-profit that stumbled into capitalism and never looked back. That's where the rot begins. From the outside, OpenAI still talks like a non-profit. They emphasize safety, alignment, and global benefit. But internally, they're bending structures, creating hybrid for-profit caps, exploring public benefit corporations, all to make the numbers work. And here's the catch. If you need that much capital to benefit humanity, maybe you're not building something for humanity anymore. Maybe you're building a business and trying to dress it up like a cause. Then comes the kicker. Sam never took equity. He makes $76,000 a year. To most people, that sounds noble. But to investors, it sounds suspicious. In a world where incentives drive everything, where billions are on the line, refusing to take equity means your motivations become harder to read. Are you a martyr? A puppet? A wild card? Sam says he regrets not taking a little equity. Not for the money, but to shut people up. That's honest. Maybe too honest. Because it shows how badly OpenAI wants to appear principled, even as it gets entangled in capitalism's oldest trap, trust. And then, boom, we return to Elon's voice. I don't trust Sam Altman. He doesn't believe Sam tells the truth. He doesn't believe Sam is worried about AI safety. He doesn't believe the man who helped build OpenAI should be allowed anywhere near the most powerful system on Earth. That's a red flag. Because the moment trust breaks down, not just between co-founders, but between creators and the public, AI ceases to be a tool. It becomes a weapon. And in Elon's eyes, Sam Altman is already pulling the trigger.
All right, right now, a rivalry between big tech billionaires playing out as we speak. We're talking about Elon Musk and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Altman firing back after a Musk-led group submitted an unsolicited $97.4 billion bid to take over OpenAI. Take a listen.
Sam, should you have taken Elon's offer?
You refused $1 billion for Elon Musk. What do you want to say to Elon Musk?
Receive what from him?
Almost $100 billion, right?
The company is not for sale, neither is the mission. We're happy to buy Twitter if you can talk about that.
Wow, okay. Altman made that same message in a post to X saying he'll buy Twitter for just $9.74 billion.
Elon tries all sorts of things for a long time. This is this week's episode.
You take it seriously at all? What do you think he's trying to drive at with this?
I think he's probably just trying to slow us down. He obviously is a competitor. He's working hard and he's raised a lot of money for XAI, and they're trying to compete with us from a technological perspective, from getting the product into the market. And I wish he would just compete by building a better product, but I think there's been a lot of tactics, many lawsuits, all sorts of other crazy stuff. Now this, and we'll try to just put our head down and keep working.
Does it make it more difficult to move from that non-profit model to that for-profit model for OpenAI?
We're not moving to a for-profit model. We're not sure we're going to do it all, but no matter what, the non-profit will continue to be extremely important. It will drive the mission. It will continue to exist. The board is looking at lots of options about how to best structure for this next phase, but the non-profit is not changing into anything or going anywhere. I mean, whether they did or didn't, they built a good model. Many people will distill from many other models. again, I feel so confident about our research roadmap and also our product roadmap that, DeepSeek will do whatever DeepSeek's going to do. Other people do whatever they're going to do. And we're just going to try to build the best technology we can and get it into people's hands. And I think that's mostly going pretty well.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually. I don't think he's a happy person. I do feel for him.
Okay. Do you worry that he has this proximity to the president and he can influence the decision making of the US presidency and policies around this agenda on AI?
Not particularly. Maybe I should, but not particularly. I mean, I try to just wake up and think about how we're going to make our technology better.
Sam Altman with Tom McKenzie in Paris. We go to London now. When they walked me in the room and they said, we got a fun thing for you to do. Own YouTube. The first book I read, comment, subscribe by Mark Bergen, cover to cover, inside YouTube's chaotic rise to world domination. Observing OpenAI in Paris is Bergen in London. Mark, what does Macron want out of this? What do European leaders want out of an AI soiree in Paris?
I think they want, in some ways, what they want people like Sam Altman there. He probably wanted Elon Musk there as well. They want big headline numbers, right? Macron kind of gave his version of the Project Stargate. He said 109 billion euros of investment. If you look at the finer points there's a lot of details yet to be filled in, and some of those are over a massive timeline. But I think they want to be seen as relevant, right? I mean, we had the end of that conversation between Tom and Sam Altman about DeepSeek. It's US, it's China. Europe is left out in those conversations.
Mark, on the subject of DeepSeek, which I imagine is looming large over this gathering in Paris, there was a bit of happy talk there from Sam Altman about the fact that all of these different AI companies building their models are going to learn from each other. But as you and our colleagues have reported here, there is some, shall I say, skepticism about the way in which this Chinese company has fashioned this model. What's the latest on that as we kind of learn more about it and how it was fashioned and indeed how much it costs to do?
Yeah, I actually think they were more candid this week than I expected. We saw Demis Hassabis, who runs DeepMind and Google's AI efforts, basically telling us on TV yesterday, I think the cost that DeepMind, that 6 million figure that they use to train their models, he said it's exaggerated. He basically called BS on it. And we had Chris Lehane, who runs policy for OpenAI, saying that we've been talking with government officials about this possibility that they distilled or use unauthorized access to OpenAI data. And so basically built this model right on the shoulders of OpenAI.
Mark, unfair question, but let's finish with this. How does Microsoft arc over this tension of Musk and Altman? What does Microsoft want out of this?
It's a good question. I mean, in some ways, Microsoft's kind of the winner as long as people keep buying their cloud services. And I think, it seems like what Musk has thrown a little bit is a wrench between the close relationship with Microsoft and OpenAI. I believe even since after his lawsuit, they've kind of backed away from that. There's some reporting that they're not as close as they were. But, in the long run here, Microsoft wants more companies spending on chips, more companies spending on cloud compute. And I think they're fine to let this lawsuit.
It is the app that is revolutionizing the tech world and beyond. ChatGPT is one of the fastest growing apps on the market. It's AI assistant helping users solve problems both big and small, and leading investors to dream of the wild and lucrative possibilities of artificial intelligence.
They're spending tens of billions of dollars every few months in order to make artificial intelligence really happen and become mainstream.
But its parent company OpenAI's rapid growth, the subsequent injection of investor cash from several different sources, coupled with co-founder Sam Altman's desire to make the company a for-profit entity, has led his former partner Elon Musk to revolt. Musk has filed a lawsuit to slow or outright block the company's transformation. And now he's taking that feud a step further, offering close to $100 billion to take control of the company. A bid Altman didn't ask for and immediately rejected. No thank you, but we'll buy Twitter for $9.74 billion. A subtle shot at Musk, who bought the social media platform for $44 billion. Musk returned fire, calling Altman Scam Altman and a swindler. Musk's bid to take control of OpenAI comes at the same time he's enjoyed immense influence over the Trump White House.
I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
But Trump has not been afraid to keep Altman close, hosting him at the White House to announce a $100 billion investment in AI infrastructure across the U.S.
We wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President.
A rivalry that Trump seems to be willing to encourage.
These two men, while they're rivals and big competitors and former business partners, they're also fighting for the affections of the President of the United States.
And in his offer to buy OpenAI, Musk's attorney promises the billionaire will return the company back to its core mission with a pledge to make it open source, nonprofit, and a, quote, safety-focused force for good that it once was.
So here's where we are. One man is building what may become the most advanced artificial intelligence platform in history. The other is trying to stop him. Not with algorithms, but with a lawsuit. And both of them helped create this storm. If Elon Musk makes this happen, if he creates a competing AI that's open, regulated, and accessible, he could flip the AI race on its head and expose just how fragile OpenAI's structure really is. But if he fails? If the lawsuit goes nowhere and OpenAI doubles down on control? Then Sam Altman becomes the de facto steward of the most powerful technology we've ever known. And that means whether or not we trust him, we're all along for the ride. So yeah, we are screwed might not be hyperbole. It might just be the understatement of the year. So, Apple just called out OpenAI and the entire AI industry without even raising their voice. While everyone else is hyping up how smart these models are, Apple quietly dropped a study that basically asks, are these systems actually thinking, or are they just really good at faking it? We've all seen those step-by-step answers in tools like ChatGPT or Claude, where it looks like the AI is solving problems in real time. Turns out, that might not be real reasoning at all. According to Apple's research, when the puzzles get tough, even the best models break down, and not just a little. We're talking complete collapse. They tested models like Claude, DeepSeek, and OpenAI's own, and what they found was kind of brutal. In this video, we're breaking down what Apple actually discovered, why it matters, and whether these so-called intelligent systems are truly reasoning or just putting on a show. Let's get into it.
Apple researchers now raising red flags that may be hard for the AI trade to ignore. In a new paper, they're throwing cold water on the growing trend of reasoning models and whether they're really more accurate. Deirdre Bosa has more in today's Tech Check. Please explain, Deirdre.
I will. So in doing this, Apple is essentially calling out not just a growing, but the biggest trend in AI right now, and that is reasoning, the ability of models to try and think like humans. Now, these models are everywhere. OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, they are all racing to build AI that doesn't just spit out answers, but shows its work step by step, promising more reliable and logical responses. But Apple scientists, they're now saying that beyond a certain point, it just doesn't work. Not only do these models struggle with harder problems, but they actually get worse as the task gets more complex and they waste computing power overthinking simple tasks. Here's an example from the paper. Now the AI, it's playing a simple version of checkers, swapping pieces from one side to the other. It starts easy, but the more pieces you add, the harder it gets. It's a logical puzzle. This chart shows how well AI models handle the puzzle as it gets harder. At first they're accurate, but at around 8 to 10 pieces, everything just collapses. Even the most advanced reasoning models, they break down. So put simply, thinking harder doesn't make these models any smarter. It just makes them slower, less reliable, and importantly, more expensive too. They're burning through compute power. So what does this all mean for investors and the AI trade at large? Well, some see this as Apple moving the goalposts, shifting the conversation because it's late to AI. But similar findings are coming from other labs too, including Anthropic and Leap, a Chinese AI research group. And they raise big questions. Is the industry chasing the wrong kind of intelligence? And so are companies like OpenAI and Google just burning through expensive compute to make these models look smart without actually getting any better. The AI boom so far, guys, you know this well, it's been about scale. But this newer narrative, which is certainly gaining momentum, that could continue to shift the focus to efficiency, and it could make investors question once again whether all this spending is actually paying off. We've seen the AI trade take off once again over the last month. But remember, these are similar doubts that stalled the AI trade earlier this year after DeepSeek's breakthrough is all about efficiency and ROI. Could also help explain why Apple isn't jumping into AI the same way that others are, because culturally, Apple is very hesitant to release products that aren't perfect, and this paper really shows and proves that these new reasoning models are far from perfect.
So they're not getting smarter?
Not after a certain point. So when you think about simple logical tests, yes, but when it goes into the more complex ones, they're not. They're actually just burning compute power. And the word too that I hear a lot from sources, CEOs, founders that I talk to in AI is generalization, right? What do you do with an AI model if it's very good at math and science and sort of logical problems up to a certain point, but they can't generalize? That could make the idea of agents, right? Another buzzword, something that Apple has wanted to integrate into the iPhone, much further off. That we're not going to get that. We're not going to get that killer app, that killer use case beyond a chatbot for some time.
So you think, Dee, it's a reflection of Apple's habit over the years of not overpromising? I mean, certainly that was the case with an Apple television and an Apple car. Right. We can go through a couple other case studies.
It may be. It could be a convenient excuse, which is what some critics say. But like you said, Carl, we know that Apple wants to get things perfect. This shows that it's not perfect yet. So maybe it's hesitating, but it could also help explain why Apple hasn't spent the same kind of billions and billions of dollars in CapEx that others have. It's sort of taking a step back, watching this efficiency race play out before jumping into sort of these bigger models that at the end of the day may not actually be smarter.
I love how deep you go, Deirdre. Thank you very much, Deirdre Bosa, which is a good preview because Apple's a big story this afternoon, but also importantly for Apple, so are the trade talks between U.S. and China happening in London.
So here's what's happening. A lot of new AI models, especially the ones claiming to be smarter, more advanced, or human-like, are starting to show their work. They don't just give you an answer, they give you their reasoning step by step. This technique is called chain of thought prompting, and it's supposed to simulate how a person would think through a problem. If you ask it a math question, it might walk you through the logic. First, we subtract x from y, then we divide, all the way to the final answer. Visually and structurally, it looks like thinking. But here's the catch. Nobody really questioned whether those steps were accurate. Everyone was focused on whether the final answer was right. That's like seeing someone get the right answer on a test and assuming they understood the topic, without checking if they cheated, guessed, or copied someone else's work. Just because it looks like logical thought doesn't mean it actually is. This illusion is what Apple set out to test. They weren't satisfied with just getting the right answer. They wanted to know, is the model actually reasoning its way there, or is it just mimicking patterns from its training data that look like reasoning? This is a subtle but critical distinction, because if the steps are fake or just stitched together from memorized bits, it means the AI isn't actually understanding anything. It's faking the act of thinking. That's not a small problem. The entire pitch behind these new models is that they're more intelligent, that they can solve harder problems, handle more responsibility, and even assist with scientific discovery. But if the process behind their answers is flawed, then we're building an entire generation of tools on a foundation that might be cracked.
And the biggest thing is they were blindsided when generative AI with ChatGPT and GitHub launched back in 2022, November 2022. I'm told Apple Intelligence wasn't even an idea back then.
Why?
Well, they missed the boat.
But how? I mean, I mean, I don't understand. Yeah.
Well, clearly there was philosophical disagreement and philosophical disinterest in the topic of artificial intelligence. I write about how Craig Federighi, Apple's senior VP of software engineering, doesn't really believe in these multi-billion-dollar projects. He tends to try to shut down or steer away from projects of that sort, and AI is something of that nature. AI is quite a bit messy. They're known for their very intricate and well-designed user experiences. AI, sometimes with hallucinations, can take away from that, but I think they didn't think it was going to be as big of a thing as it became today. A lot of it fell on deaf ears years ago, I'm told. But really, this is a company that's known for updating their operating systems once a year. It's known as a company that focuses on the minutia, and they missed the big picture here with artificial intelligence, and it really is a shame. You know, the big picture here isn't the AI capabilities of its devices today. The big picture today is the AI capability of future hardware. If you don't have the core technology, the AI ready to go at a deep level, how are you going to develop products like humanoid robots, smart glasses, watches and AirPods with depth sensing cameras for AI purposes. Can't do any of that if you don't have that technology. So they need to seriously turn this thing around quickly, or they're going to be in big trouble. This is as core a technology as the touchscreen.
Wow.
I mean, first of all, how many words is this story, dude?
6,000.
Yeah, this is a long, well in-depth story, folks. So if you want to get smart on AI and Apple, you got to read this story. It's in the Bloomberg Business Week. It's on the terminal. I'm sure it's everywhere else as well. Mark, what can they do? If I'm an investor, that's the only question I have for Tim Cook. Can you guys catch up and get some of that AI pixie dust in your stock?
Yes, they need to make acquisitions, and they need to up the percentage of that R&D budget tied to AI. They need to up that percentage. They need to allocate more of their hires to AI as well. So they need to go big or go home on this. And I think...
Do they know that, do you think?
Yeah, of course they know that.
Okay.
How do they go big?
You got to spend more money. AI is really one of the only things that you can buy your way into when it comes to this technology, right? You can buy your way into it. You just need to throw billions and billions at AI training. They need to make probably some tweaks to their privacy policy, right? They have so many devices. They have more devices than anyone else as a single brand of a hardware company, of any company in the entire world, in the history of the world. But they don't leverage that because of their privacy stance. So maybe make some tweaks there to be able to collect some more data, maybe figure out a way to convince people to give up some of their data for this purpose. And I think that could go a long way for them. So spending money, collecting more data.
Is there somebody out there that they could buy, should buy, that would leapfrog them, do you think?
They hate doing that though, right?
Well, the problem is this philosophical disgust, I would say, to making these large acquisitions. If I told you, I mean, you know this is true, so maybe you're not a good example, but if I said to someone who didn't know the company as well as you two, would you believe me if I told you that Apple's biggest acquisition in the history of the company was $3 billion?
I actually believe that.
Well, you believe that because you know that. But I think if you ask people who didn't know that, that would be completely unbelievable. They make these small acquisitions. And in addition to not wanting to spend big bucks on a company, they're really poor at integrating companies. The Beats integration, integrating all those engineers into the company, disaster. Intel, they bought the modem unit for $1 billion back in 19, disaster. What is it going to feel as an AI person at Apple today if the company buys your replacement to bring them in? It's not going to be fun. There's enough turf wars as it is at Apple. So
if they do then have to do it internally, they've still not done well at that.
They've got to do both. They got to make the acquisition. They got to just deal with that. They got to make their biggest acquisition ever, and it has to be for AI, maybe multiple acquisitions. They have to turn things up a notch internally as well. They're going to be making changes. I mean, there's so many philosophical disagreements. The biggest is about chatbots when it comes to AI. They are allergic to AI chatbots. They don't like the technology. They don't think OpenAI has staying power. So yes, I know.
I made a face when he said that, by the way. Okay.
You're going to see deeper integrations with other companies. You're going to see Google Gemini integration. I think next year you'll see Perplexity integration, maybe some Anthropic integration, maybe some Microsoft integration, but they're going to keep pushing, and this is going to be a multi-year thing. The biggest problem is they were caught off guard when this happened, so they had no head start on this. They're coming way from behind.
Now, my next guest has been a fan of Astera Labs for some time now. In fact, she introduced us to this stock a while back. Spirit Leads investor, founder, chief investment officer, Ivana Dalevska. Ivana, now, are you happy with what you just heard from the CEO?
Absolutely, Charles. So thanks for having me. We really like Astera Labs here, especially post this pullback. I think many investors don't understand exactly what the company does, which is why you see this more violent volatility and swings. But if you can find good entry points, this is a really good company to own for the long term.
These are some of the things that you talked about it being a pure play. I like this part. Several products have 100% market share right now.
That's right, Charles. So the PCIe Express that you mentioned earlier and that the CEO referred to has close to 95% market share. So when you talk about competition with Broadcom and other players, everybody is working on different parts of the value chain. So they're not necessarily competing with each other. So they have a very strong market share in this particular product. And then the Leo and Scorpio, those will be products that will ramp in the second half of this year and more in 2026. So
it sounded like he's got a great relationship with his customers, but it sounded like it wasn't a lot of customers. You talk about customer expansion.
That's right. So a lot of these products are brand new things. So they first started with NVIDIA on the PCIe Express retimers, right? And then they're expanding further into other customers. So we think that now their number 2 customers is approaching the size of NVIDIA, and number 3 is not too far behind. So as they expand the customer base, you're going to see a lot more stable earnings rather than what we've seen.
I got to ask you about this. I asked him about this Apple paper I saw over the weekend. It got a lot of traction, right? Essentially boils down to maybe this whole AI thing. At the moment, it's just mostly smoke and mirrors. What do you say about that?
Well, I think it's a very interesting thing, this concept of thinking AI. I think we're very far from the point where AI can think. We're going to have to deploy significantly more GPUs to get to that point. We are at a point where...
Is that AGI or ASI?
Well, it's actually like this would just be the second layer of iterative AI. So it's really like step 1 was generative AI, where like you prompt ChatGPT and it gives you a reply. Now it just does few more iteration, which is what's really used in the agentic AI models. But to get to like where AI can reason, like the AGI or one of those more advanced stages, I think we're at like 10 years, really? 10 years behind.
So rest comfortably. It may take our job, but it won't. It will still need us around.
Exactly. It really works side by side to humans, and the new things that you're going to see introduced over the next 6 months is really going to be how they're going to help you do better, be better
Thanks
at
for
your
watching.
job.
If you want more in-depth breakdowns on the AI war, tech drama, and what's coming next, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. The future is coming fast, and it doesn't care if we're ready.
One of the things that's really revolutionary about the version 12 of Tesla's full self-driving is that it's an end-to-end generative model. And it learns from watching videos, surround video, and it learns about how to drive end-to-end, and using generative AI predict the path and the how to steer how to understand and how to steer the car. And so the technology is really revolutionary.
This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. In the last 60 years, this is the biggest reinvention that you and I have seen. This is incredibly exciting technology. You want to engage it. The impact to your company is incredible, and you want to be an early adopter. This is the beginning of a decade of transformation, but you don't want to be second. This is the time you want to be first.
In a world that's rapidly advancing, one innovation is about to change everything. We've heard the promise of autonomous vehicles for years, but now, thanks to the vision of Elon Musk and a groundbreaking leap in artificial intelligence, we're standing on the precipice of something far more profound. This is about redefining how we interact with technology, how we navigate our world, and ultimately, how we live our lives. Elon Musk's dream of fully self-driving cars has always been ambitious. From Tesla's early breakthroughs to its promise of safer, smarter roads, we've been inching closer to a future where the car isn't just a means of transportation. It's a mobile brain, learning and evolving on its own. But now, the game has changed. Enter Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, whose latest announcement has not just moved the goalposts, it's completely shifted the field. Jensen reveals the fundamental technology that will make it all possible. This isn't about a Tesla-exclusive dream. No, this is about every car on the road, from luxury vehicles to your average sedan, needing autonomous capabilities. What makes this shift possible? The key is in how we teach AI to understand the world. Gone are the days when engineers painstakingly labeled millions of images, trying to teach AI to recognize objects in static snapshots. The future, as Jensen reveals, lies in video-based learning. This is about creating an AI that can see and react to the world as humans do, recognizing motion, patterns, and context in real time. What's truly staggering here is the scale at which this technology operates. Think about the monumental processing power needed to handle video data on a level that matches how we, as humans, experience the world. NVIDIA's Thor chip is at the heart of this transformation, a processor so powerful it's 20 times more capable than its predecessor. This is the engine behind real-time decision-making, helping cars navigate complex environments with unprecedented precision. But it doesn't stop with the chip. NVIDIA is building a complete ecosystem to support this leap. With the power of NVIDIA's Blackwell architecture, the company is reshaping how data centers operate, laying the foundation for the massive computing needs of AI-driven vehicles. These are the unsung heroes of this revolution. Data centers, processing millions of video feeds, simulating real-world environments, and training AI to make decisions that could save lives and revolutionize transportation. Jensen envisions a world where AI is democratized. Thanks to NVIDIA's powerful AI supercomputer platforms, anyone from developers to creators can harness the power of cutting-edge AI at their fingertips, transforming industries from gaming to robotics to even digital biology. But back to the cars. The concept of full self-driving, once a distant fantasy, is now edging closer to reality. And as Jensen points out, this technology isn't just about getting us from point A to point B. It's about rethinking what a car can do for us. Safer roads, more efficient travel, and yes, a more enjoyable driving experience are all on the horizon. When we look back, we may very well see this moment as the turning point where AI redefined the future of humanity, not just in how we drive, but in how we live, work, and interact with technology. So, with NVIDIA at the forefront, the question isn't whether self-driving cars are coming, it's when. And the answer is sooner than we ever thought. Stay tuned, because the future is arriving at full speed, and it's going to be a ride like no other.
You know, another area that was announced yesterday was around NVIDIA Drive AI and really enhancing and helping the safety and security when it comes to autonomous vehicles. Where do you see that headed with NVIDIA Drive AI?
Well, we've been working on autonomous driving for some time, and it's already some $5 billion business for us. Yeah, and so the way that we serve the autonomous vehicle industry is through the three computer systems: one for training the AI, one for simulating the AI called Omniverse, and one to put the AI in the car. And the car AI, safety is everything. And the way that you solve for safety, first the algorithm has to be safe, and so it has to be smart about what to avoid and what how to drive safely and such. But those are algorithm things. Even underneath that, the operating system has to be designed to be safe. The car computer has to design to be safe, in the sense that it can't fail. And if it were to fail, it would fail safely.
Elon Musk's vision for full self-driving cars has always been ambitious. But what NVIDIA's Jensen Huang just revealed takes that ambition to an entirely new frontier. This is about an AI revolution that is fundamentally reshaping how machines perceive and interact with the physical world, starting with the way these systems learn and evolve. Tesla has been a pioneer in autonomous vehicles for years, setting the pace in the race towards safer, smarter roads. But Jensen makes an important point. This future isn't reserved for Tesla alone. Eventually, every single car on the road will need to have autonomous capabilities, not as an optional luxury, but as a critical component for safety, convenience, and even driving enjoyment. This is a future that will redefine transportation as we know it. What makes this transformation possible is a shift in how AI systems are trained. In the past, engineers manually labeled millions of images, painstakingly tagging everything: stop signs, pedestrians, lanes, to teach AI what to look for. This was not only labor-intensive, but limited in scope. Now, the new frontier is video-based learning. By feeding raw video streams directly into AI systems, these models learn how the physical world behaves over time, recognizing motion, patterns, and context much more naturally, just like humans do. This technology mirrors the breakthroughs in large language models like ChatGPT, but with a crucial difference. It grounds AI in the physical realities of space and motion. That requires enormous computational power, which NVIDIA has built an entire ecosystem to support. At the heart of this ecosystem is NVIDIA's new Thor chip, a game-changing processor designed specifically for robotics and self-driving vehicles. With 20 times the power of its predecessor and engineered to run advanced transformer engines, Thor is the kind of hardware that turns Elon's FSD dream into a feasible everyday reality. It's the brain enabling real-time understanding and decision-making in vehicles navigating complex environments. But the innovation doesn't stop with the chip. NVIDIA's Blackwell architecture is now in full production, powering some of the world's largest data centers and cloud providers, from Amazon to Microsoft. These data centers form the backbone of the AI training infrastructure, processing staggering amounts of data and running sophisticated simulations necessary to perfect autonomous systems. What's particularly exciting is how NVIDIA is bridging the gap between massive cloud computing and personal AI supercomputers. Thanks to their AI supercomputer platforms available on desktops and in the cloud, developers, researchers, and creators can now harness immense AI power in ways never before possible. This democratization of AI technology is speeding up innovation across industries, from gaming to robotics to digital biology. Gaming in particular stands to be revolutionized. With AI-powered content creation tools, games will not only become more beautiful but smarter and more adaptive. Jensen highlighted DLSS4 and neuroshaders, technologies blending AI with real-time graphics to create experiences that respond dynamically to players. This isn't just about entertainment, it's about AI redefining how we interact with digital worlds. This means Elon's dream of full self-driving might be closer than we ever imagined. And when it arrives, it won't simply be a new feature. It could change the way we live, work, and move forever. Stay tuned as we explore the technology and visionaries behind this seismic shift. The story of AI and autonomous driving is just getting started, and the future is unfolding faster than ever.
Well, Tesla is far ahead in self-driving cars, but every single car someday will have to have autonomous capability. It's safer, it's more convenient, it's more fun to drive, and in order to do that, it is now very well known, very well understood that learning from video directly is the most effective way to train these models. We used to train based on images that are labeled. We would say this is a car, this is a car, this is a sign, this is a road, and we would label that manually. It's incredible. And now we just put video right into the car and let the car figure it out by itself. And this technology is very similar to the technology of large language models, but it requires just an enormous training facility. And the reason for that is because the data rate of video, the amount of data of video is so high. Well, the same approach that's used for learning physics, the physical world from videos, that is used for self-driving cars, is essentially the same AI technology used for grounding large language models to understand the world of physics.
If you're wondering how Elon's full self-driving vision might actually become real, Jensen Huang just connected all the dots, and it's wild.
We're here with Jensen Huang. He is obviously the CEO and founder of NVIDIA. Jensen, thank you so much for joining us. Huge keynote last night, opening CES up, everything from robots to new gaming rigs. I guess one of the main things that you had mentioned was how we're entering the age of physical AI.
Yeah.
As far as that goes for NVIDIA on the revenue front, when do we start to see that pick up? We have, obviously the self-driving cars, the robotics. We have a robot down there that's giving candy or will.
Yeah.
Where does that start to feed into the revenue stream?
Well, in order to train a robot, you need a lot of data. And the first version of consumer robots that we're all going to engage is a self-driving car. And we've been working on self-driving cars now for some time, and the business is some $5 billion estimated run rate this year. And that kind of puts it in perspective. And the reason for that is because in order to build a self-driving car, you need to train a mountain of data, video data, and NVIDIA's data center business is very important to us. And so in order to build robotics, you need 3 computers. You need the training computer, that's DGX. You need the simulation computer for Omniverse, and NVIDIA is also in the simulation business. Computer graphics is not just for playing video games. You could use it for simulating virtual worlds for self-driving cars. And so the simulation computer is a very big business for us. And the third one, of of course, is the robotics computer. All three computers are big businesses for us, and so if you just imagine, if just right now where the self-driving car business is, if it's already a $5 billion business for us, imagine how big it's going to be when we have 100 million new cars per year, 1 trillion miles driven per year. This is likely going to be one of the largest robotics industries in the world and one of the largest computing industries in the world.
And then this is the Thor chip right here. This is the
new Thor. Yeah, this is the new Thor robotics processor. It's 20 times more powerful than the last one. It runs Transformer Engine, the Blackwell architecture, and this will go into self-driving cars. It will go into robots. It will go into all kinds of stuff.
Well, the other thing that you guys have announced is a new super chip, the GP10, and that's running in digits. And this is this desktop, basically AI supercomputer.
Yeah.
Right. I guess when you look at something like this, and then you look at the customers that you have, the Microsofts, the Amazons, they're running their own versions of supercomputers in the cloud. How do those two compute? How do they come together? You have someone who could buy this who may not be a customer for them. So how does that work out?
The way to think about that is we have AI supercomputers in the cloud, and but people would like to have an AI supercomputer personally. It's a little bit like personal computer complementing cloud computing. And so we have, in the case of the computer industry, we started in the PC, went into the cloud. In the case of AI, we started in the cloud, we're coming into PCs, into personal computers. And so if you were a developer and you would like to have your own personal cloud, you could get one of those digits and have it all to yourself, and all of NVIDIA software runs on it, which is really a miracle. It runs on something that small, and so everything that you want to do in AI, you could do on that, or you could do it in the cloud. It's up to you, and we want people to be able to access NVIDIA AI however you like to do it.
And all of this is based on Blackwell. And I know during the presentation last night you said Blackwell's in full production. So what kind of uptake are you seeing from customers so far with regards to Blackwell?
Demand is incredible, and we're racing to get Blackwells into every data center in the world. All the cloud service providers have now stood up Grace Blackwell systems. They're liquid cooled and NVLink 72, and we have some 45 factories around the world building the systems necessary to deliver to them, and so it's going to be pretty exciting.
So when does Blackwell eclipse Hopper for revenue share, right? Because everybody's still on, or the revenue from Hopper is still coming in, but then Blackwell, you imagine, was going to take over. So when does that switch happen?
I would suspect probably early this year. I would like it to be as soon as possible, but of course Blackwell is still in allocation, and we're trying to ramp up the production, and but it'll be soon.
He said NVIDIA's self-driving car business is already pulling in $5 billion a year. That's not future hype. That's right now. And he made it clear, this is just the start. There are over 100 million new cars made every year, and NVIDIA's goal is to power a huge chunk of them with AI. Their new Thor chip? It's a beast, 20 times more powerful than the last one. It's designed to run transformer-based AI models, the same kind of tech behind ChatGPT, but inside a car. That means real-time decision-making, learning from video data, reacting to the world instantly. That's what makes Elon's dream of FSD even possible. And then Jensen dropped this. Their Blackwell chip is now in full production, and every major data center in the world wants it. Amazon, Microsoft, Google. 45 factories are building systems non-stop to meet the demand. So when he says AI is entering the physical world, it's not sci-fi anymore. Elon's FSD? It might be closer than we think, because NVIDIA is literally building the brain to run it.
I guess gaming, this is for me, by the way. Gaming is, obviously, was a huge part of last night. How important is gaming to NVIDIA still, with AI being the huge kind of moneymaker now?
Gaming is super important, but gaming as an industry is going to get revitalized by AI. Both the content creation part of it is the cost of creating content will go down because of AI, and the games are going to be more interesting because of AI, and the games are going to be more beautiful because of AI. AI. You know, the technology that we announced last night, DLSS4, is just utterly incredible. And we fused AI and computer graphics, programmable shaders, and AI into this thing called neuro shaders. And so we've even brought AI into computer graphics. And so I think the video game industry is going to get revitalized by AI, which is really great. But computer graphics is essential to almost everything that we do as a company, and we use it for simulation, we use it for design, and it's going to be a very important part of our business for a long time.
Part of that announcement with the RTX is being able to run AI on an RTX system. Mm-hmm. So I have a PC at home. Yeah. I have an RTX system. I can run AI models.
Yeah.
What does that look like going
This
forward?
is Blackwell.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, this is literally Blackwell. The Blackwell architecture that we have in the cloud that we use for supercomputing is right here. And so the thing that you'll be able to do, of course, you'll be able to create your own AIs if you like. We have a cloud called ai.nvidia.com, and we put a whole bunch of AI models up there, and these AI models are all prepackaged into what we call NIMs. They're vision models, language models, animation models, physical models, digital biology models. Whatever you would like to do as a software engineer, developer, creative artist, you could go download those models and go create your own AI, and just runs on your PC.
I guess just as a final, we're looking at these new kind of custom chips from the likes of Broadcom. How does that kind of connect with NVIDIA? Where does NVIDIA see the advantage versus something like a custom chip for Broadcom making for a Google or one of NVIDIA's other customers?
Well, the fundamental trend is very clear now. When you take a step back, what it says is that everybody now realize accelerated computing is the path forward. And general purpose computing that we have in the past, $1 trillion worth of data centers we've already built, those data centers are going to get modernized. And so the first takeaway is that accelerated computing is now clearly the path forward. The second thing is we do things that are very, very different. NVIDIA, of course, our architecture is open. It's fairly pervasive, and as a result of that, you could put NVIDIA in every cloud. You could put NVIDIA in every company. You could apply NVIDIA into self-driving cars, into robotics, because it's so versatile. And so I think the fact that our architecture is literally everywhere makes it the best architecture for developers, makes it the best architecture to innovate on, and it's the best architecture to build new industries like robotics and self-driving cars and others. And so I'm quite excited about the future for accelerated computing and AI.
What Jensen said next really surprised me. He made it clear, gaming is still core to NVIDIA. Even though AI is driving their biggest revenue now, he's not moving on from gaming. Instead, he says AI is going to revitalize it. Think about this. Creating high-end games today costs tens of millions. But with AI, the cost of content creation drops fast. And the games? They'll look better, play smarter, and even adapt to players in real time. Jensen introduced DLSS4, an AI-powered graphics boost, and a new tech called Neuro Shaders, which blends AI with real-time graphics. It's not just eye candy anymore, it's intelligent. And here's where it gets wild. That same Blackwell architecture powering supercomputers and data centers, it's now inside RTX PCs. If you have a high-end NVIDIA graphics card, you can run powerful AI models right at home. He even mentioned their cloud platform, ai.nvidia.com, where you can grab pre-built models for vision, language, animation, even digital biology. So whether you're building a chatbot or a video game character that learns, it's all within reach. Then came the question, what about companies like Google using custom chips from Broadcom? Jensen didn't flinch. He said the shift is clear. Accelerated computing is the future. General purpose chips are becoming outdated. And while some companies make custom chips for themselves, NVIDIA's open architecture can be used by everyone. In every data center, every cloud, every car, every robot.
Jensen, just one more quick last question. I'm glad you talked about the auto business and what you're seeing there. You mentioned that automotive is now the largest vertical, enterprise vertical within data center. You talked about the Tesla business, but what is that all about? Is it self-driving among other automakers too? Are there other functions that automakers are using within data center? Help us understand that a little bit better.
Well, Tesla is far ahead in self-driving cars, but every single car someday will have to have autonomous capability. It's safer, it's more convenient, it's more fun to drive, and in order to do that, it is now very well known, very well understood, that learning from video directly is the most effective way to train these models. We used to train based on images that are labeled. We would say, this is a car, this is a car, this is a sign, this is a road, and we would label that manually. It's incredible. And now we just put video right into the car and let the car figure it out by itself. And this technology is very similar to the technology of large language models, but it requires just an enormous training facility. And the reason for that is because there's the data rate of video, the amount of data of video is so high. Well, the same approach that's used for learning physics, the physical world, from videos that's used for self-driving cars is essentially the same AI technology used for grounding large language models to understand the world of physics. So technologies that are like Sora, which is just incredible, and other technologies, VO from Google, incredible. The ability to generate video that makes sense, that are conditioned by human prompt, that needs to learn from video. And so the next generation of AIs need to be grounded in physical AI, needs to understand the physical world. And the best way to teach these AIs how the physical world behaves is through video, just watching tons and tons and tons of video. And so the combination of this multimodality training capability is going to really require a lot of computing demand in the years to come.
Now this part really brings it all together. Jensen just confirmed that automotive is now the largest enterprise vertical inside NVIDIA's data center business. That's huge. Even 10 months ago, he was saying it out loud. Cars are the future of AI, and Tesla is leading that charge. But here's what stood out. He didn't just praise Tesla. He made it clear. Every single car is going to need autonomous capabilities. Not as a luxury, but because it's safer, easier, and frankly more fun to drive. And the way we train these cars, it's changing fast. Before, engineers would hand label millions of images, telling the AI, this is a car, this is a stop sign, and so on. That's not scalable. Now the car learns from raw video, just like how AI models learn language. Jensen says this video-based training is key to understanding the physical world, something large language models can't do on their own. This is where things get real. Think about models like OpenAI's Sora or Google's Video Poet. They're generating realistic videos from prompts. But to make those videos make sense, those models need to learn from video too. It's the same foundation as self-driving, just applied differently. And all of this requires massive computing power, the kind NVIDIA is scaling with Blackwell and their 45 factories. So when Elon says FSD is getting better every month, this is the backbone of that progress. Even 10 months later, Jensen's prediction is unfolding. Physical AI that understands space, time, and behavior, is what's going to power the next generation of cars, robots, and maybe even the AI we use in everyday life.
NVIDIA's first co-packaged option, silicon photonic system, it is the world's first 1.6 terabit per second CPO. This is really crazy technology. Crazy technology.
The world of AI is advancing at a pace few could have predicted. Faster, smarter, and more integrated into our lives than ever before. But here's the catch. None of it works without the right infrastructure. We're talking about the kind of systems that power everything from self-driving cars to the virtual worlds we escape into. And right now, one company is about to change the entire game. In his latest keynote, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang unveils a technology that promises to reshape the future of AI computing forever. So, what does this mean for the future of AI? And why should we all care? Let's break it down.
Okay, so first of all, we're announcing NVIDIA's first co-packaged option silicon photonic system. It is the world's first 1.6 terabit per second CPO. It is based on a technology called micro-ring resonator modulator. It is completely built with this incredible process technology at TSMC that we've been working with for some time. And we partnered with just a giant ecosystem of technology providers to invent what I'm about to show you. This is really crazy technology, crazy technology. Now, the reason why we decided to invest in MRM is so that we could prepare ourselves using MRM's incredible density and power, better density and power compared to Mach Xander, which is used for telecommunications when you drive from one data center to another data center in telecommunications, or even in the transceivers that we use Mach Xander, because the density requirement is not very high until now. And so if you look at these transceivers, this is an example of a transceiver. They did a very good job tangling this up for me. Oh, wow. Thank you. Oh, Mother of God. Okay. This is where you got to turn reasoning on. It's not as easy as you think. These are squirrely little things. All right, so this one right here, this is 30 watts, just so keep you remember, this is 30 watts. And if you buy it in high volume, it's $1,000. This is a plug. On this side is electrical. On this side is optical. Okay, so optics come in through the yellow. You plug this into a switch. It's electrical on this side. There's transceivers, lasers, and it's a technology called Mach Xander, and incredible. And so we use this to go from the GPU to the switch to the next switch, and then the next switch down, and the next switch down to the GPU, for example. And so each one of these, if we had 100,000 GPUs, we would have 100,000 of this side, and then another, 100,000, which connects the switch to the switch, and then on the other side, I'll attribute that to the other NIC. If we had 250,000, we'll add another layer of switches, and so each GPU, every GPU, 250,000, every GPU would have 6 transceivers. Every GPU would have 6 of these plugs, and these 6 plugs would add 180 watts per GPU, 180 watts per GPU, and $6,000 per GPU, okay? And so the question is, how do we scale up now to millions of GPUs? Because if we had 1 million GPUs, multiplied by 6, right, it would be 6 million transceivers times 30 watts, 180 megawatts of transceivers. They didn't do any math, they just moved signals around. And so the question is, how could we afford, and as I mentioned earlier, energy is our most important commodity. Everything is related ultimately to energy. So this is going to limit our revenues, our customers' revenues, by subtracting out 180 megawatts of power. And so this is the amazing thing that we did. We invented the world's first MRM micro mirror, and this is what it looks like. There's a little waveguide. You see that on that waveguide goes to a ring. That ring resonates, and it controls the amount of reflectivity of the waveguide as it goes around and limits and modulates the energy, the amount of light that goes through. And it shuts it off by absorbing it or pass it on. Okay, it turns the light, this direct continuous laser beam, into ones and zeros. And that's the miracle. And that technology is then, that photonic IC is stacked with the electronic IC, which is then stacked with a whole bunch of micro lenses, which is stacked with this thing called fiber array. These things are all manufactured using this technology at TSMC called, they call it COUPE, and packaged using a 3D CoWoS technology, working with all of these technology providers, a whole bunch of them, the names I just showed you earlier, and it turns it into this incredible machine. So let's take a look at the video of it. Just a technology marvel. And they turn into these switches. Our InfiniBand switch, the silicon is working fantastically. Second half of this year, we will ship the silicon photonic switch in the second.
This could completely reshape how data is transmitted. The world's first 1.6 terabit per second silicon photonic system. What a quantum leap, right? This breakthrough is more than just a faster data transfer solution because it's really the cornerstone of a new way of thinking about how data is moved and processed. The key innovation behind this system is the use of micro-ring resonator modulators, MRM, a technology that will drastically improve efficiency and power management. What sets this apart isn't just the raw speed, though that's impressive in its own right. The true power of this technology lies in its ability to handle vast amounts of data more efficiently, with a smaller energy footprint. NVIDIA has leveraged TSMC's state-of-the-art process technology to make this possible, pulling together an ecosystem of technology providers to create this groundbreaking system. The implication here is enormous. A transformational leap forward in how we think about computing infrastructure. But of course, to understand the significance, we have to look at the larger picture. This is more than just about creating faster chips or more powerful systems. They are laying the groundwork for AI's next era. AI infrastructure must evolve rapidly, and this new silicon photonic system is the bedrock for that evolution. As we continue to demand more from AI, more data, more processing, more applications, systems like this will be the ones that power that demand sustainably and at scale.
If you're following Elon's moves and how government policies impact the markets, you need Seeking Alpha. It's my go-to for expert stock analysis to help you stay ahead. Check the link in the description for a special offer. Our channel may earn a commission.
So let's take a look at the video of it. a technology marvel. And they turn into these switches. Our InfiniBand switch, the silicon is working fantastically. Second half of this year, we will ship the silicon photonics switch in the second half of this year. In the second half of next year, we'll ship the Spectrum X. Because of the MRM choice, because of the incredible technology risks that over the last 5 years that we did, and filed hundreds of patents, and we've licensed it to our partners so that we can all build them, now we're in a position to put silicon photonics with co-packaged options, no transceivers, fiber, direct fiber into our switches with a radix of 512. This is the 512 ports. This would just simply not be possible any other way. And so this now set us up to be able to scale up to these multi-100,000 GPUs and multi-million GPUs. And the benefit, just so you imagine this, it's incredible. In a data center, we could save tens of megawatts. Let's say 10 megawatts. Well, let's say 60 megawatts. 6 megawatts is 10 Rubin Ultra racks. 6 megawatts is 10 Rubin Ultra racks, right? And 60, that's a lot. 100 Rubin Ultra racks of power that we can now deploy into Rubins. All right, so this is our roadmap. Once a year, an architecture every 2 years, a new product line every single year, X factors up, and we try to take silicon risk or networking risk or system chassis risk in pieces so that we can move the industry forward as we pursue these incredible technology. Vera Rubin, and I really appreciate the grandkids for being here. This is our opportunity to recognize her and to honor her for the incredible work that she did. Our next generation will be named after Feynman. Okay, NVIDIA's roadmap. Let me talk to you about enterprise computing. This is really important. In order for us to bring AI to the world's enterprise, first we have to go to a different part of NVIDIA. The beauty of Gaussian splats. Okay, in order.
And like everything else, there's a critical challenge in AI computing that most people don't immediately think about: scaling. Data centers are the backbone of AI, but they face a massive hurdle: the energy required to scale AI systems effectively. As Huang details, when you multiply the number of GPUs in a data center, you encounter a huge problem: power consumption. Each GPU requires multiple transceivers, which are both energy intensive and expensive. If you scale this to 1 million GPUs, you're talking about 180 megawatts of power just for the transceivers, and the cost skyrockets. Each transceiver can run upwards of $6,000. This is unsustainable for any industry looking to scale rapidly. The heart of the issue here is that energy is the most valuable one in AI hardware. Without it, there's no scaling. Without it, data centers simply cannot function at the level AI demands. This is where NVIDIA's MRM technology steps in. By utilizing this innovation, NVIDIA has solved the energy consumption problem. Instead of relying on the traditional power-hungry electrical systems, they've turned to light-based transmission, using MRM to modulate data with incredible efficiency. This shift is really crucial. It enables the industry to scale at the pace that AI growth demands. MRM technology opens the door to a future where AI systems can be deployed at a scale never before thought possible without collapsing under their own energy requirements. NVIDIA has taken a problem that could have hampered progress and turned it into an opportunity for exponential growth. What we're witnessing here is not just another piece of hardware being unveiled. It's the dawn of a new era in AI infrastructure. As we push forward into an AI-driven future, it's innovations like this that will shape how AI scales and integrates into our daily lives. This is the beginning of something much larger than just hardware upgrades. As AI becomes even more embedded in every aspect of our world, We'll look back at this moment as the silver lining time when the foundations of AI computing were solidified.
In order to train a robot, you need a lot of data. And the first version of consumer robots that we're all going to engage is a self-driving car. And we've been working on self-driving cars now for some time, and the business is some $5 billion estimated run rate this year. And that kind of puts it in perspective. And the reason for that is because in order to build a self-driving car, you need to train a mountain of data, video data. And NVIDIA's data center business is very important to us. And so in order to build robotics, you need 3 computers. You need the training computer, that's DGX. You need the simulation computer for Omniverse, and NVIDIA is also in the simulation business. Computer graphics is not just for playing video games. You could use it for simulating virtual worlds for self-driving cars. And so the simulation computer is a very big business for us. And the third one, of course, is the robotics computer. All 3 computers are big businesses for us. And so if you just imagine, if just right now where the self-driving car business is, if it's already a $5 billion business for us, imagine how big it's going to be when we have 100 million new cars per year, 1 trillion miles driven per year. This is likely going to be one of the largest robotics industries in the world and one of the largest computing industries. The way to think about that is we have AI supercomputers in the cloud, and but people would like to have an AI supercomputer personally. It's a little bit like personal computer complementing cloud computing. And so we have, in the case of the computer industry, we started in the PC, went into the cloud. In the case of AI, we started in the cloud, we're coming into PCs, into personal computers. And so if you were a developer and you would like to have your own personal cloud, you could get one of those digits and have it all to yourself, and all of NVIDIA software runs on it, which is really a miracle. It runs on something that small, and so everything that you want to do in AI, you could do on that, or you could do it in the cloud. It's up to you. And we want people to be able to access NVIDIA AI however you like to do it. Demand is incredible, and we're racing to get Blackwells into every data center in the world. All the cloud service providers have now stood up Grace Blackwell systems, or liquid cooled, and NVLink 72, and we have some 45 factories around the world building the systems necessary to deliver to them, and so it's going to be pretty exciting. I would suspect probably early this year. I would like it to be as soon as possible, but of course Blackwell is still in allocation, and we're trying to ramp up the production, and but it'll be soon.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, or drop a comment below. We've got more deep dives coming your way. Stay tuned for the next one. See you soon.